Sonic the Hedgehog, one of my fave franchises next to COD Zombies and Marvel. I think I've made that clear before. Love Sonic X, I love the movies, and I love the games, when they're actually good. One fateful day I was just scrolling through shit-talk and I came across a clip of a certain review for a certain game. I eventually find out that it was an IGN review for Sonic Unleashed. I watched half of it, and holy fuck! Was I annoyed. Like, I honestly don't like to get annoyed when I hear other people's opinions on stuff and shit like that. But when people just start bashing shit and sounding so negative, it can get on my fucking nerves. And I don't know why, and I don't like that it does.
The daytime sections aren't perfect by any means. The jump button can be fatally unresponsive at times, and it's just a lot of trial and error gameplay that can get a little bit repetitive after a while. One thing you should know about Sonic Unleashed before spending your hard-earned money on it. It's a big piece of garbage.
I swear, when it comes to my favorite games though, these motherfuckers just like taking a shit all over everything. It pissed me off calling this game trash saying it ain't worth buying now. This video was from 13 years ago, as is Sonic Unleashed, and for a game in 2008, you gotta understand, these graphics shit on literally anything that any COD between 2010 and 2020 could ever do. But yeah, IGN can't even make a good zombies top 10, so what the fuck do I expect from them anyway? Well, you know, maybe I'm mistaken and... Oh no.
Are you fucking for real?
How the fuck are you gonna do that? No, seriously. How the fuck are you gonna make a top 10 zombies match list and put Exo Zombies Descent on that same list? Dick. But yeah, seeing someone else have an opinion has triggered the living fuck out of me, and I gotta do something about it. I'll meme on IGN another time because, let's be honest, there can be some fucking twat. But one reason I haven't uploaded in time is because I was making this video. I love Sonic Unleashed, and I love Sonic, and I want to go through why I love this game in depth. I try not to just become some, like, big-ass reviews channel, not because I hate them, but because I just can't be asked to be some critical, analytic thinker that has to give a 10-page assessment on why Sonic having longer quills is so important. Sonic Unleashed was a game-changer for the franchise, for better and for worse. But first, we gotta go over how we got to this game. Sonic was a franchise where they were always trying to top their last game, with the story, the stakes, the finale, and the gameplay. Going from a very simple battle against Eggman for the final boss, to the ultimate Eggman mech with no rings in sight, the Death Egg robot. The final bosses kept getting more serious. Adventure 1, you have Perfect Chaos, who stole the spot as the final boss from Eggman for the very first time. And then in Sonic Adventure 2, the Earth was 10 minutes away from being blown up as Shadow had to sacrifice himself to save the planet. Point is, every Sonic game was pretty much improving on the last one. But then you have this piece of shit. Sonic 06, as I said in my Project 06 video, was an absolute shithole of a game. The 15th anniversary and was clearly meant to be something big. You could tell it followed the theme of trying to top the last game as much as they could when they full-on fucking killed Sonic for the first and only time. And it's a shame the game sucked dick. But it wasn't just that though. Secret Rings wasn't very good, although I enjoyed it when my brain wasn't fully developed, and also the party mode on Secret Rings. Can we get another full, like, standalone party game for Sonic? Because what they did in Secret Rings was amazing. It was actually on level with Mario Party in my opinion, which is great because Sonic Shuffle is a thing, and guess what? That game sucks dick. And also, Shadow the Hedgehog, which came before 06, was about as enjoyable as watching this fat fuck have a wank. Every game since Adventure 1 seemed to be getting worse gameplay-wise. Sega is a company that 100% cares too much about review scores and shit. When things go bad, they just seem to scrap ideas that are good, execute shit instead of refining them. Sonic had a set gameplay formula for years. You run, jump, spin dash, and use your momentum-based physics and well-timed jumps to hit shortcuts and make it to pathways that characters like Mario or Mega Man never could. You use your abilities to make it through the stage, and the replayability comes from the fact that using speed and physics to your advantage to absolutely boss a stage flawlessly, because you cannot just help but feel nothing but satisfaction when you beat Speed Highway in less than a minute, because you know all the shortcuts, the ones that are intentional and the ones that are not. But Sonic had always played like a platformer with much more unique ability. Sonic and the Secret Rings was in development around the same time as 06, but that was the first 3D mainline Sonic game that had a different game style. Instead of playing open platform based stages where you have full free control of Sonic's movement in a 3D world, you essentially play a long ass line with a stage built across it and constantly move forward, steering yourself left and right to avoid obstacles and homing attack enemies while collecting rings to make it to the end. It was like controlling a car, and the stage was basically a point-to-point race. Sonic Rush was a 2D game but introduced the boost mechanic to Sonic. In 2008, Sonic Unleashed debuted a new gameplay style that pretty much combines the ideas of Rush and Secret Rings' gameplay to bring the now well-established boost gameplay into Sonic. Sonic controls like a car and his stages are like a point-to-point race. At the press of a button, you'll fly forward in a burst of speed in an almost uncontrollable way, with more speed than ever before in any game. Like legit, I don't know if any game has speeds that are this high. It took me so long to get good at this gameplay to the point where I don't even consider myself skilled at this shit. I've just played the stages enough to have almost every unseeable obstacle memorized in my head. I'll never memorize the final stage because it's too long and I don't really bother playing it that much. I also never really watched YouTube back then. Video quality wasn't much of a thing. In gaming reviews, I can't say they were everywhere, so I have no idea what the initial reaction to this new gameplay was. I just knew I fucking adored it. Sonic's main thing has always been his speed, and now we have a game where he plays almost as fast as shows like Sonic X would depict him. Sonic's speed used to be short-lived and only was really a thing when you're skilled enough to use it properly. Now it's what the game's all about. I know there is definitely haters for the boost. For some reason, you have dickheads who think the homing attack is bad because it makes attacking enemies too automated, which isn't how it was in the Genesis games. And to them sad fuckers, I dare you to beat every 3D mainline Sonic game without using a homing attack once. Spoiler alert, you'd be fucking miserable. You can have the argument where having a button that makes you go super fast, and while going that fast you destroy all enemies in your way, takes away any type of skill. But what we all agree on is the fact that this gameplay will always be a blast to play through, so long as it's done correctly. It's one thing to have a boost button that activates a boost, but if you're not bursting forward with absolute speed and power that makes everything around you seem like a blur, then you just don't have the boost gameplay. Colors and Forces boost is incredibly weak. When you activate it, you just go slightly faster. However, the air boost in those games is definitely a lot more reliable. The obvious thing with this game is you can tell they really wanted to avoid comparison to Sonic 06 as much as possible. So fucking off other playable characters and having the adventure formula completely scrapped was what they decided to do. The question is that, was this a change that was for the best? Sonic Generations and Sonic Unleashed can often be regarded as the best 3D Sonic games, and these two have the top tier boosting gameplay that you just don't have in other games. But that's only two games. Colors is basically a 2D game with some 3D bits, and Forces just isn't a very good game. It's just mindless and dumb and probably can keep you entertained for about an hour. But enough about other games, it's time to talk about how the gameplay works. In Unleashed, the boost is tied to your ring, which are planted absolutely everywhere. There isn't a stage where rings aren't instantly in front of you, so when the level starts, you can just instantly start boosting. For this gameplay to work, you need a level that is huge but seems kind of small when you're moving at a speed this fast, and Sonic Unleashed impresses me the most here. This game is graphically one of gaming's greatest for the year it was out, and it's just incredible how much detail they can put in when your stages aren't exactly built for exploration. Most of this scenery you just speed by and will never pay any attention to, but if you didn't have these phenomenal settings, you just don't feel like you're playing a good game. Presentation is a big factor. It's easy to meme on games that look like absolute dog shit, even if they play really well, like Sonic Adventure. New fans to the series would most likely look at the first two adventure games and think they're shit, and not understand that gameplay-wise, these are some of Sonic's best. You need a road to boost on for it to be a mechanic worth having. You can't just make your stages all straight lines, and one thing Unleashed smashes is the level design. These stages are simply just dumb fun, but still keep you fully engaged all the way with potential hidden routes and shortcuts that you have to time correctly to make them, or do or die moments like spike traps or bombs in your way that you have to slide or stomp or quick step to avoid getting hit. In the newer boost games, stages are practically split between 2D and 3D, but one thing I love about Unleashed are the multiple cinematic camera angles for certain parts of stages that are so much better to play than just a simple 2D side-scroller. Boosting 2D gameplay will never be as fun as the Genesis games because no matter what you say, the boost will never be as powerful as classic Sonic Spin Dash. But yeah, I specifically enjoy this part of Savannah Citadel where your camera is kind of 2D, but it's at that angle so you can still see what's ahead and can react in time to the bullshit that would usually surprise you. Hitting obstacles that slow you down can be really frustrating and really easy to do when you're going speeds this high, but when you master a stage and don't lose any speed or momentum at any time, it's hard to not think you're the bollocks. Now, there's no spin dash or bounce. The spin dash isn't exactly needed for this game, but I definitely would have preferred the bounce alongside its replacement. While in the air and crouching, Sonic will stomp down to the ground in a second. For things like when you want to break a platform below you, or when you're in the air and you just want to land straight back down without losing any time and just instantly start boosting again. There's also the light speed dash, which works perfectly in this game. I'm sorry, Sonic Generations didn't really do it very well by making it so that only certain ring trails light speed dash, because certain turns of this game have ring trails going across them and you can just light speed dash to make them perfectly. And to help control the boost, there's the quick step allowing Sonic to switch lanes to avoid things like spikes and bombs in his path, and the drift, which is only really useful in Savannah Citadel, but no other stage. The drift is really good for speedrunning because for some reason it just makes you go faster when you're going straight. This was the first boost game though, so it's understandable that the drift wasn't perfect, and it's not like it's beyond awful, but the drift is absolutely needed because handling as Sonic is wank when going this fast, but the level design isn't against that, which is perfect. They definitely left out the control for when you're not boosting, but that's never really a thing in this game, so who gives one? I have noticed some moments in some stages where a boost just won't work if you don't activate it at the right time, or sometimes your quick step just seems to have delays in between doing them, so instead of quick stepping, sometimes jumping over an obstacle is the best thing you can do. But it's not on a point point where the game's completely unplayable, but you can tell this game is nothing like 06 with almost no game-breaking glitches in sight. The absolute best stage in this game is Rooftop Run. It just captures what makes the boosting stages so fun, and it's just a really beautiful stage, which is one main reason why it's in Generation. Now, I've talked about the boost gameplay, and that's only one small fraction of Unleashed. Here comes the part that will forever seem to drag the game through the mud and will always give someone a reason to complain. In the daytime, Sonic is his normal self, but at night he becomes Sonic the Werehog, a very specific gimmick in a game like this. One thing that they're trying a brand new speed stage mechanic that is nothing like we've ever seen before, but then you have this God of War style beat 'em up gameplay, also never seen before in a Sonic game, which is a massive contrast to the day stages. I can think of one reason the Werehog stages are hated. The day stages are so fast, action-paced, full of adrenaline, and always have your full attention, and they're never too long either. The longest is Rooftop Run, which can be about 6 minutes, but easily goes down to 3 when you master it and max out your speed. But then come along these night stages that are much slower and longer. I think players simply just miss the day stage when you hit with this complete opposite game mechanic, that no matter what, you have to play to progress onto the next day stage. By having the mentality that you only want to play the day stages, it just makes you want to wish that the night stages to be over as soon as possible. And the thing is, there isn't really anything wrong with the Werehog gameplay. You have to understand what's here is really well designed, even for a Sonic game. I think it's just the wrong crowd they tried this with. I can imagine players who love God of War or beat 'em ups like this think this gameplay is great, because when I think of reasons why I dislike the Werehog, it's never because it's just complete shit. It always comes back to the day stages just being 10 times more fun. But yeah, I've never really beat a game that plays like the Werehog gameplay, and I think that goes for a lot of the Sonic fanbase. But what is here? Well, you use your X and Y or your square and triangle to attack, and as you progress, you can level the Werehog in many ways, making you stronger, have more health, and unlocking brutal combo. There is so much variety with how you attack enemies, and it's important how you level yourself up, because if you don't give any attention to strength or combat, you're gonna have a very bad time in the later stage. Although the early stages can be honestly powered through with a late game Werehog. You can use a shield, which I honestly never do, but the best part about the Werehog is the Unleash. When your meter is full, Sonic becomes twice as strong and twice as fast, and it can't not be satisfying when you see massive hordes of enemies that you know would be very tough, but get deleted from existence in seconds because of your Unleash. It never lasts too long, but to keep it, you have to keep killing enemies. The night stages are also full of platforming segments. I think these are also where some people get annoyed, including myself, but I can never use that as an excuse to drag down everything about Sonic Unleashed. As I said, there's nothing really too wrong with the Werehog. It's just completely different, a lot more challenging, and seems like it's really easy to hold things over a game's head if it's brand new and completely different. But at least it's a one-game gimmick. Wisps. Classic Sonic. The Werehog requires beating the shit out of enemies and tricky platforming, which is all done really well. I could go in depth with why I don't hate the Werehog, but that's too complex. There's just two main highlights for it. The combat is surprisingly really fun and will never not be satisfying when you batter waves of enemies with these sound effects. It just makes you feel like the Hulk, or when you grab two small enemies and then just swing around in a massive horde and kill everything in sight. And the other thing is that it's not broken. You would think after 06 a gameplay style like this would crash and burn with another 6 million glitches, but I've never had one. I've had many bullshit deaths that will always piss me off, but I'll never boycott the whole game because there's a small number of moments that frustrate me. I don't know if I'm just too positive or something. I do like to complain, but I can never really talk shit about something that I feel is underrated, and to me that's what I feel the Werehog is. But the massive contrast to the day stages is what I think is the issue. I love the idea though, having that opposite duality theme. For the bosses, I think every boss in this game is great except for the final one. For Sonic, it's the same idea as the day stages. Avoid attacks and boost and homing attack when you see an opening and keep doing that to the end. The thing I love about the day bosses is when you hit them, you can boost into them and they start flying about, and then you can do that about 3 times to keep their effect going, and it just feels so powerful and so satisfying to do. The night bosses are just as good, working kind of how you'd expect any video game bosses to go. It's all about making them vulnerable, doing some damage, and then letting quick time events do the most damage until it's over. The worst normal boss in this game is probably the Dark Morax, because it's just shit, to be honest. Alright, now I just want to talk about the story, and I can't not do that without talking about the opening cutscene that is yet to be beaten by literally any scene in any game. This intro is perfect, capturing the whole dynamic of Sonic and Eggman. The whole first half has no words, you can feel like there's a story there. Sonic powers through Eggman mechs like it's nothing, and when Eggman has the upper hand, Sonic reveals he has the Chaos Emerald somehow and destroys the entire space armada as Super Sonic like it's nothing. In a normal game, you would think this massive armada of ships in space would be the climax, but fuck that, this is just setting up the story. Eggman lures Super Sonic to this big-ass dildo in space he's made to use the power of the Chaos Emeralds to break the planet apart. Already, the stakes are set, and they are fucking high. He did this because in a thing called the Gaia manuscript, Eggman learned about a power called Dark Gaia that lives inside the planet, and he wanted to harness that power. You would think when he says Eggman Land will finally come to be, that's just an empty dream, an empty threat, won't actually happen, but that's where this game surprised me. But in doing this, the power of Dark Gaia had an effect on Sonic, turning him into the werehog. This transformation scene plays itself over and over almost every day when I think of Sonic in my head. The music and the shot is just a sight to behold. It's perfect and rivals with actual movies in the cinema. Eggman sends Sonic to what should be his death, but somehow isn't. Because bullshit. That's one thing I will call bullshit on this game. I guess Chip is the reason this bubble came around Sonic, which probably stopped him from burning up while falling, but who gives a fuck anyway? Or it's just Sonic is immortal and Eggman should really just give up at this point. When Sonic lands, he finds this little Omochao looking thing who has no memory. The planet is broken apart, the Chaos Emeralds are fucked, and Sonic is a fucking werewolf. But Sonic's first instinct is to help this thing he's just met. This game does Sonic so well, and everything I love about Sonic is in this game. He's a cool, collected, powerful character who always does what's right because it's right, no questions asked. I feel like Roger Craig Smith's Sonic is the most annoying character that never shuts up and only does what he does just to piss off Eggman. You know, just like that annoying dickhead in school. But in this game, he's none of that. The story has a big focus on Chip and Sonic's friendship, and it works really well. Chip has this really cute and cartoonish personality that makes him adorable. He's not really cringy or anything, he's just adorable, and he's a character that I care about. When Sonic later finds Tails, he learns about Professor Pickle, who's an expert on Dark Gaia, so they go and rescue him. And then they learn about what Dark Gaia actually is, and taking the Chaos Emeralds to the 7 Temples of Gaia will fix the planet. As Sonic says himself, it's a planet-sized jigsaw puzzle. An idea that fits perfectly for this series. I also really like how the story is told and played out. One pet peeve I have with Generations and Forces is how I can beat those games too quickly, like in a few hours, but in this game, it's a big one, and it will take you some time. But that's better than just a few hours of gameplay, then brush this game aside and be done with it. You have the prologue of establishing Chip and Sonic as friends, and his new werehog form and his abilities, the second act, which is most of the game, fixing the planet once the mission is set, and the final act I can talk about later. I also like how in order to stop Eggman isn't as simple as just destroying things he makes. It's a well thought out story with a mission that makes sense and isn't completely boring. It's a pretty open game. You have hub world to explore, people to talk to, it's all optional as well, which is great because talking to NPCs in open world games I always find to be a chore. But I also like how this time it's a lot more unpredictable. There's always a lot you have to go through before you can restore a piece of the planet, so each piece feels like a massive achievement, and why wouldn't it? It marks how far you've gotten in the game. Sonic Unleashed is a massive experience. It isn't just about boosting through stages, and the boost gameplay definitely cannot carry a whole game by itself. Now, one thing that makes the games take so long to beat are how you unlock stages. For new players, this will be the biggest piss take, but if you're doing a second or third playthrough, it isn't the worst thing in the world. There are Sun and Moon medal collectibles that can be found in stages and hub worlds and secondary hub worlds that require exploration. Let's just say it's the shittiest feeling in the world when you progress to go on to the next day stage, but don't have enough Sun medals and realize the only way you're going to get more is if you go back and replay the night stages and explore every square inch to find every single one. This will always be what puts me off playing through this game again. I have PTSD of just hunting for medals and it's so long to do. I like how it encourages exploration, but I just wish there was an easier way to get them because they're mandatory and you need a shitload. But it's the best feeling ever when you go through the game not having to ever go back to a stage to collect some. Now to go on to the third and final act of this massive journey. Throughout all the bosses and progress you've made, Eggman has been winning. Not only that, at the second to last Gaia temple, Chip gets his memory back. Sonic's whole reason for going along with Chip was to help him find his memory, and he had no clue how important Chip was to the plot. And I never realized either back when I first found out. Chip's real name is Light Gaia, and he's the opposite of Dark Gaia. Every tens of thousands of years, the planet will be broken apart, unleashing Dark Gaia's wrath, and it's always up to Chip to stop him and put the planet back together. Eggman just done it too early, and that's why Chip has no memory and why Dark Gaia wasn't fully complete. I love them actually establishing some lore for the Sonic universe. That's just something that's never done. I also just adore this scene. Chip thinks he should just go off on his own and complete the mission, but Sonic's logic is,
do I need a reason to want to help out a friend?
That to me is what Sonic's best personality trait is, and as I said before, Sonic will do what's right because it's right no matter what. I also love how Sonic believes when he turns into the werehog, Chip protects him from Dark Gaia's influence, like how he does to all the other people in the world, when that just wasn't it. They could have made Sonic a monster with some secret rage we've never seen before, but he doesn't have that in him. The werehog is nothing but Sonic with different abilities. I I also like how the people are done in this world. You would think everyone should be panicking 24/7 because the planet's broken, but they'll never stop being positive and living their lives unless they're under Dark Gaia's influence. Unrealistic, yes, but also adorable, lovable, and charming. This game has the best use of humans because they're not very realistic, but still matter, and are still people that live in this world that aren't just going to be forgotten. They're not too overly involved, but they're also not just extras. They're just humans that live their life. Also, the designs are perfect to fit in with Sonic's world. Getting back on track, the last Gaia temple has Eggman's base built on top of it, except it's more than just an Eggman base. The last stage is legendary, but also incredibly frustrating. It is fucking Eggman land! Yeah, I thought Eggman was full of shit and just dreaming at the start, but no. This time he's actually won. This whole city designed by him, he rules over, and the one sole purpose of it is to kill Sonic. In order to fully stop him, you have to battle your way through the Mad Land as both day and night Sonic in this ultimate gauntlet to test all your abilities that you've learned from playing. Context like this is what makes it such an amazing and memorable final stage, no matter how hard it is. This shit is practically 30 minutes long, maybe 20 if you know what you're doing, but I've only ever beaten it once, meaning I've only ever beaten the game fully once. And that shit took me about 40 minutes to do, and I raged so hard at it. Anyone who's beaten this game can tell you how hard this shit is, and rightly so. It's the final stage of this grand adventure. They went all out with this ending. The stage ends with 3 big fat fuckers as the werehog. Legit, all I have to say about Eggman Land is I love this stage as the last stage, but also fuck you. But after the last Chaos Emerald gets its power back, you can move on to the final 3 bosses. First being a final boss for the werehog. It's just the Egg Dragoon, easily the best werehog fight. It's Eggman's ultimate mech. It's like the Death Egg robot, but on steroids. It's hench as fuck, and it's made to kill Sonic. Just wish it didn't get brought back so much. The quick time events to batter this thing are just so satisfying to me.
Fuck you, fat bastard!
It's not a difficult boss, but it's not a boring one either. Just your obvious, make the boss vulnerable and then do big damage in quick time events. But after that comes the big bad, the one true enemy. One of my nightmares as a kid. Legit the thing that actually did make me scared when I was younger.
What? It's Dark Gaia.
Holy shit, the design of him is so gorgeous and terrifying. This is one bastard you don't want to mess with. He may not be the best final boss ever gameplay-wise, but this was a massive threat that had to be taken seriously, otherwise it may as well be the end of the world. Dark Gaia rises and takes Sonic Werehog curse away from him, leaving him completely powerless and vulnerable and probably scared for like the first time ever. And because of the friendship between Sonic and Chip displayed, it never surprised me Chip was willing to protect Sonic. He uses the Gaia temples you visit in the game to create a giant stone body called the Gaia Colossus. And unfortunately, we have to play as this piece of shit in a super slow section where you make your way towards Dark Gaia with your thumb up your ass as you slowly move forward. And when I say this shit is slow, I mean it's fucking slow. Like, mate, I have 3 kids by the time I'm done with this fight. When you get close enough, there's a quick time event before Dark Gaia and Chip clash, and you play as Sonic in these small day stage segments to get to his eye and then fuck him up. And once again, it can't not be satisfying to see the damage get done, especially on that 3rd eye.
Yes! Fuck you!
That last little bit, I never knew could be so AIDS.
Fuck you cunt. It's not even over, but still, fuck you cunt.
After that, Dark Gaia is perfected, and it's time to go Supersonic to end this. This final boss isn't a very good one, because Supersonic doesn't really control the best to begin with, and seems he never has in these boost game final bosses. But also, you're not really fighting Dark Gaia, you're just taking down a shield, and then after that, the fight is a massive quick time event. But that doesn't mean this isn't a satisfying end to the story. Defeating Dark Gaia means the battle's over, as him and Chip are sealed back in the earth once again, and Sonic lands back where he started, and that is Sonic Unleashed. I love this game, and talking about it, and playing through it again for this video. It was truly an amazing experience that just gets bad critic scores because of one part of the game. That isn't even that bad. Hopefully, if you somehow watch this entire video, maybe I've opened your eyes a little bit to better appreciate the werehog. No one has to agree with me, this is all opinion based, but one thing that is fact, Sonic Unleashed is a top 10 Sonic game and just an overall well worth it, fun, exciting, massive, and nearly perfected executed game that has a lot of heart and soul put into it. I know this is a fucking long one. As I said, I didn't want to go too in depth because this shit could have been even longer, but there was no need for that. Anyway, thank you all for watching. This one took a while to make, so it would very much be appreciated if you like it. If you enjoy the content, then subscribe, and until the next one, cheers lads and have a good one.